In this video, I'm gonna break down exactly what you guys need to do to get a six pack in the next 90 days. Okay, always get as close to a six pack as you can in the next 90 days. I'm not promising anything here, guys, but you can achieve amazing results if you absolutely lock in between now and Christmas. So we're gonna break it down right from literally nutrition, training, mindset, goals, everything you need to do so you can literally go away, implement everything I'm gonna explain today. So hopefully this is very, very valuable. And this is exactly what I would do. If I was to wake up tomorrow without a six pack, lose all my hard work, this is exactly what I do in the next 90 days so that I was shredded again by the time we get to Christmas. So we're gonna go right from the get-go, straight into this whiteboard analysis. Let's go. So the first thing, guys, that we have to start thinking about is goal setting, okay? Now, this is really important because if we don't have a goal set, we have no idea what we're working towards, okay? This is one thing we really do with our clients is we tell them what weight you need to be to have a six pack or what weight you need to be to look and feel the best you've ever had, and then actually put a deadline on that goal, okay? So when we actually break this down, you might look at yourself at the moment and you might maybe not quite understand exactly what weight you should be to have a six pack. So you just need to go with as much precision in terms of a guess is what you really think. If you really think you need to, and put it this way, okay? Most guys need to lose at least 10 kilos to get a six pack as an absolute minimum. And you might be thinking now, oh, I don't need to lose that much weight. You probably do. So let's just say, again, we're gonna ballpark a lot of this today. Let's just say right now you are a guy, you are a 90 kilo guy, okay? You're maybe around 6 foot, you are holding a little bit of body fat, but you've actually got a little bit of muscle there as well, right? So we're gonna make this very, very, very simple, okay? Start is gonna be 90 kg. We're gonna say, right, over the course of the next 90 days, we're gonna drop 10 kilos, okay? That is a 10, right? And we're gonna aim to get to 80 kg. That is actually very realistic, okay? When we break this down, now realistically, we should be kind of working towards trying to lose around 1% of our body weight per week, okay? If we do 0.9 times by 12 weeks, that is roughly probably gonna give you about 10 kilos. So that's actually a very realistic goal. You drop 10 kilos, look, even if you don't have a six pack and you drop 10 kilos, you are gonna look dramatically better than what you did at the start. So that is how we go about goals. We have a date, so we have date here, start date, okay, whenever you're gonna start, and then we have a date which we are going to achieve this goal, right? So we've literally broken down, we have a goal, we have a starting weight, we have a goal weight, we have a start date, we have an end date. Maybe the end date would be, you know, the week before Christmas or something like that, okay? Then you've got your goal set. That is step one, okay? Super, super important. You are not gonna go into this, shouldn't be going into this, unless you actually have a very clear and concise goal that's set, which you understand exactly what you are working towards. Step number two is, of course, going to be nutrition. Of course, this is gonna be super important. Okay, now, where are we gonna go with this? So we want to be achieving pretty fast fat loss results, okay? But to the point as to where it's not too aggressive, okay? We don't wanna lose muscle. So we're gonna make it nice and simple, okay? We're gonna go 10 calories per pound of your body weight times pound body weight, okay? This is you can spend more time working out your calories, you can go and do all these different equations. I've got a free calculator that you can also use. But honestly, it actually is so simple sometimes. 10 times calories, right? Let's just say again, simple, you're a 200-pound guy, that is roughly around 90 kilos, right? 200 pounds is gonna place you to the point as to where you are consuming 2,000 calories per day, okay? 2,000 calories a day, right? We've kind of run out of whiteboard space there, but that's roughly where we're gonna be hitting. So we've got our calories, okay? So our calories are very simply gonna be set to that, okay? Equals 2K. Right? Then we're gonna go into the next step. We're gonna start working out our protein, because protein after calories is the most important thing. We don't wanna be getting skinny, we wanna be building muscle, we wanna be getting stronger. So we go into our protein intake next. And protein is very, very, very simple. And it's gonna be 1 gram per pound of your body weight, right? So again, super simple, you're 200 pounds, it's 200 grams of protein. Now, if that feels like a lot, and it's a struggle, don't need to write protein twice. If that feels like it's a lot, what you can do is you can work off your goal weight. So let's say you're working towards being 180 pounds, 180 grams of protein. So you kind of can bring it down a little bit, but I like to go on the higher end because protein fills you up. It's really important. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna work out how much fat we should be consuming. Okay, now, Essentially, with fat, it is an essential macronutrient, so it's the second thing we work out. It's more important than your carbohydrate intake, okay? Our body needs fats. People forget this sometimes. They think they can diet on like 20, 30 grams of fat. You're gonna feel like crap. You need to be eating enough fat. Now, you can eat between, I'd say, around 20 to 30% of your calories from fat. We're gonna go right in the middle, so let's go 25% of our calorie intake would be from fat, okay? So when we look at this, it's nice and simple. 25% of our calories is gonna work out at roughly around 500 calories per day. There are 9 calories per gram of fat. So if we work out the maths on this very simply, we've got 500 calories, which are coming from fat. We actually do this. And then we are gonna divide that number by 9. It's gonna give us 55. We round up, it's 56, okay? So 56 grams of fat is actually, to be fair, in this instance, pretty much bang on in terms of what we wanna be aiming towards. So we've got 200 grams of protein, 56 grams of fat, around 25%. And then when it comes to carbohydrates, you're just gonna, whatever is left, right? Whatever is left is gonna go towards carbohydrates. I'm not gonna work this out, but it's probably gonna be roughly, I'd say, around like 180 grams of carbohydrate. Okay, you guys can work this out to be sure. I'm gonna give it around 180 grams. That is pretty much how you'd wanna work out your calories, very simply. Now, the most important numbers here, right, are number 1, this one, okay? Calorie intake, super important. Number 2 is gonna be protein. Now, honestly, if you nail these 2 across the week, you will get amazing results. Now, I'm not saying that fat and carbs still don't play a part, but honestly, most of your results come down to calories and protein. So just make sure those are the priorities. If your fats and your carbs are a little bit kind of, not quite bang on to what we've got, it's not the end of the world. Those are your 2 most important ones. So when you've got these numbers, you need to be tracking everything you eat, okay? You track everything, you use MyFitnessPal and you start putting these numbers into MyFitnessPal, and you do not eat anything that doesn't get tracked. You hit these numbers, you track your food, you stay accountable, you are gonna start getting amazing results, right? That is nutrition boxed off. So hopefully that is very useful for you guys in terms of knowing exactly how you need to be going about the nutrition protocol with this, right? Nice and simple, cool. Next up, we are gonna look into training, okay? Very, very, very simple. So, obviously, this is important because we do not wanna be getting skinny. We wanna be building muscle. We wanna be improving our body composition. We want to be improving our metabolism. So you need to be making sure that you train 3 to 4 times per week, right? Lifting weights. Why are weights so important when it comes to getting in amazing shape? For the reasons that I've just explained. You are not trying to just lose weight, you're trying to lose body fat. You do not focus on resistance training, you risk becoming skinny fat. You're not gonna improve your body composition, you're not gonna have a nice lean 6-pack, you're just gonna end up getting skinny. So we have to be making sure we lift weights. I think 3 to 4 days per week. We've had guys lift weights 3 days per week and get absolutely incredible results. If you can push to 4, I do think it's probably worth pushing the extra session in if time allows it, because I think you get great results. I don't really think training 5 days a week is necessary for most guys. I lift weights 4 days per week. If I really thought the 5th session was necessary, I probably would do it, but I don't. So I think 3 to 4 is the sweet spot, but obviously if you want to push a little bit more, you can. But highlighting the fact again, the weights is really the most important thing that you need to be focusing on. Do not prioritize cardio, prioritize weights, lifting weights. What do we want to be focusing on when it comes to weight training? Okay, very, very simple. We want to be making sure that we hit each body part twice per week, okay? So this is really important when it comes to getting amazing results. Excuse my handwriting, but if we hit each body part once per week, we are leaving progress on the table, okay? Body responds a lot better, muscles respond a lot better to more frequency, not just hammering more volume in those sessions like a huge chest day. There's a point in diminishing returns in a session like that where you're not getting more benefit from continuing to train a muscle group. So you might as well train something like, push, pull, legs, upper, then you can hit your chest twice a week. You can still do 10 sets per week of chest, of back, of biceps, but you're splitting it across the week, which your body responds a lot better to. Protein synthesis levels will respond a lot better and you'll get much better results rather than just hammering one day. So this is where we need to be focusing on twice per week in terms of making sure we're hitting each body part muscle group then. And to finish this off, guys, when it comes to training, we need to be following this very simple protocol. I'm gonna explain to you guys exactly what I mean here, and that is progressive overload, okay? Progressive overload is essentially making sure that we get stronger in every session. It's trying to do more than what we did in the previous session, and that's how our body adapts, that's how we get stronger, that's human evolution. We need to be doing more to be able to keep progressing, keep building muscle. If you do the same weight every single week, your body isn't gonna change, right? So we need to be very, very simple when it comes down to that. Progressive overload is key. This is gonna be more weight, more reps, trying to challenge your body more than what it was last week. And that, guys, is how we break down training, okay? I know 3 to 4 days per week, you want to throw rest days in there. I'd follow a training split, which allows you to hit each muscle group twice per week, whether that's full body, upper, lower, push, pull, legs, upper. Something like that's going to be way more beneficial, and we want to be smashing progressive overload during each session. That is training. Very, very simple, guys. We are not overcomplicating it, and we are going to be getting incredibly good results from a training perspective. Number 4, very simply, is going to be our movement, okay? So when it comes to this, guys, we need to make this very simple. Okay, movement. What does movement mean? This is basically making sure that we are not being lazy, so we actually burn more calories, okay? The easiest way that we are gonna do that, very, very simply, probably know what's coming, right? 10 to 12K steps every single day, okay? You want to be trying to hit this. If you really feel that you can't get 10, you could probably push to 8, but look, we're trying to get a 6-pack by Christmas. We are not playing games, and that will come down to you getting 10,000 steps in per day, okay, at least 12,000. The reason why steps are so important is because they actually have a much greater effect on your fat loss rather than what cardio does, okay? We burn more calories from steps, okay, than cardio. Exercise does not burn the same amount of calories as what we get from steps. NEAT is what our kind of steps fall under the bracket of, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So this is all the calories that we burn from not exercising. Like what I'm doing literally right now, recording this video, getting my steps in, moving around, okay? That's what NEAT is, right? Whereas me going to the gym and doing a planned cardio session, that might feel like you're burning loads of calories, but in actual fact, it's not burning the calories that you think that you are, which is why there's a big craze now about trying to get 10, 12,000 steps in every single day, because it's a very simple way to burn fat. It's not gonna lead to loads and loads of fatigue. It's not gonna lead to you needing to, eat loads of calories afterwards because you get really hungry, which will happen when we need loads of cardio, we need loads of running. So it's simple, and a lot of you guys need to be prioritizing this. However, if time permits, okay, and you can get a little bit more in, then you want to be doing 3 to 5 cardio sessions per week. Now, what cardio would I do? My honest opinion is do this, okay? Low intensity, steady state. I'm not a massive fan of HIIT. I just don't think that people can really work at the intensity that's necessary to make HIIT really that beneficial. So I just would stick with low intensity cardio. You actually get yourself in more of a fat burning zone. It's not as aggressive. You're not gonna wanna eat the calories back. You actually burn more calories. It's a little bit more time consuming because obviously HIIT can be done in 10 minutes. If you're doing this, it's probably gonna take you 20 to 30 minutes, but I just personally prefer that. I mean, I do more moderate intensity cardio as well because I do running, but I think, in terms of fat loss, when I've been at my leanest, when I've been really focusing on trying to get as lean as I can, I've just prioritized Stairmaster, I've prioritized incline walking, I've prioritized using the bike, and I just do that 3 to 5 days per week. And I would aim for around 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, now don't get me wrong, you can get amazing results from just simply doing this. However, if you do want to push a bit more and you have got the time, add in some cardio sessions as well. I think it can make a massive difference. That, guys, is pretty much movement summed up. Okay, so we are flying through this now. Hopefully you are finding this incredibly useful. Okay, that is pretty much how we go about the movement aspect of this. Now, of course, there are a couple of other little things that we need to be covering. This isn't just simply about hammering our body into the ground. So what do we need to cover now? The big R. A lot of you guys, actually, to be fair, I neglect this, and that is recovery. Making sure that we're recovering. So what do I mean by that? Firstly, one of the most absolutely simple and easy ones that we should be nailing, and again, I have to tell myself this, I have to remind myself this sometimes because I notice on my Whoop when I'm not doing this, is 7 to 9 hours of sleep. You should be prioritizing sleep. Sleep is so important. If you're not sleeping as much, your testosterone is gonna dip, probably by around at least 30%. If you're under 6 hours per night, testosterone is gonna come down. When your testosterone comes down, your ability to build muscle is gonna drop. Honestly, you just don't feel as good when you're not sleeping. Your energy is going to be poor, your mood's going to be down, and actually you're not going to lose as much fat. Okay, you're actually going to lose more muscle. This has been shown, and also you're not going to recover. So it's so important that we prioritize sleep. Okay, and I think 7 to 9 hours is a sweet spot. If you are a busy guy, I class myself as a busy guy. I'm running my business. I've got things going on. I don't have time to be probably sleeping 9 hours per night, especially with where I am at the moment, where I'm doing later calls in the evening, but I also like to get up early in the morning. So look, I go for the absolute bare minimum where I know my body can recover, and that is for me 7 hours, okay? I know that I can feel my best, and my Whoop will tell me that from getting 7 hours of sleep per night. If you honestly don't think you can get 7 hours of sleep per night and you are that busy, I honestly challenge you. I challenge you that you're doing something even you shouldn't be. You're watching crap on Netflix. You're just getting up too early in the morning, which is probably unlikely. But honestly, like, you should be at least getting 7 hours of sleep per night. I think it's so important. And if you would feel like you need to get more, obviously if you can get 8, even better. But I think for me, that's pretty much the sweet spot. Really important. The other thing that we need to be focusing on, which kind of falls nicely into this bracket, is going to be water. You could call this recovery, technically recovery, but also obviously, you know, lifestyle factor going into this as well. 3 to 4 liters of water per day. So important, right? We know when we're not drinking enough water, we feel dehydrated, dizzy, performance isn't good, energy is not as good, and also we get more hungry. And again, back to this, when we're not sleeping, when we're not drinking enough water, we are more hungry, we're more irritable, and then you're more likely to have a problem with your diet, make a mistake, and essentially mess things up. So very, very simple. Do not neglect these things, okay? They're not as sexy as maybe some of the other things that I've gone through, but trust me when I say the recovery aspect, sleep, your water intake, is really, really important. Next up, we are gonna look at the supplements, okay? Now, this is honestly not that important to a certain extent, but I'm gonna run you guys through realistically what you probably should be taking anyway. Now, we're gonna go through this pretty quickly, and I'm not gonna spend too much time on this because honestly, it's just not that necessary. However, this is pretty much the only supplements you need. We're gonna break this down into 3. It's obviously gonna be subjective sometimes. You might need more depending on your situation, but honestly, guys, from someone who has bought so many before and just it's not been needed, don't waste your money. These are the supplements that you need. Here we go. Okay, and then our last one is gonna be, and please excuse my handwriting. Obviously, I can write better than this, but in this moment, we are trying to be pretty quick. So here we go, guys. Multi, you guys can read that. Right, so honestly, these are pretty much, and let's just do a caveat to this. Vegan protein is also fine because I've taken that before as well. So when it comes to supplements, you only really need these 6 because most of your supplements or your nutrition should cover, you know, the need for supplementation because you should be eating well, right? So it really just comes down to these 6. Number 1 is gonna be whey protein. I mean, I just think most people are gonna benefit from a whey protein shake. You know, a lot of people struggle to get their protein in. They don't wanna be eating loads of meat all the time. I mean, I like whey protein. I like to flavor certain products and foods and stuff with it. So I just find that, again, it's better to have it. If you don't tolerate dairy that well, absolutely take vegan protein. I'm currently using plant protein at the moment. It doesn't taste great, but it's good. It digests well for me. So you can also take that as well. That is just a way of topping up your protein needs if you struggle to hit your protein intake. And given how important protein is, you should be essentially having this just in case. And I would challenge most people are gonna benefit from a protein shake. Some people maybe not, you know, you could probably get it without, but I just think that for most people, if you're busy, you know, it just makes sense to have it. It makes your diet a bit more fun, right? Number 2 is gonna be creatine. I mean, this is probably one of the most scientifically backed supplements on the planet, okay? It benefits every person. We already naturally have some creatine in our cells, but when you top the creatine cells up, you get more strength, you get stronger quicker, and you basically just get faster results, right? You might as well take it, and you only need to be taking 5 grams per day. That's it, and there are no harmful effects. It's very cheap. 3 is vitamin D. You know, if you live in the UK, I mean, look, I live in a sunny place, but I still supplement with vitamin D because it's very good for testosterone production, and if you do not get a lot of sunlight, you are gonna be deficient in vitamin D. So it's important that you supplement with it, and I would aim for at least 4,000 IU per day. I've gone up to 10,000 before. I'm probably a little bit under now because, as I say, I'm in the sun, so I do get a lot of my vitamin D from the sun, but it's important that you are taking that, especially if you're a guy, optimize testosterone levels. 4 is gonna be electrolytes. Now, super important, okay? Electrolytes are key because if you sweat a lot, if you train hard, again, if you live in a hot climate, even more important, but a lot of the time we are dehydrated, okay? And it can affect our performance and it can affect our mood. So if we supplement with electrolytes, it makes a massive difference, okay? There are a lot of different type of ones that you can get. The ones that I recommend to clients are the SAS hydro tablets. You can get them on Amazon, really simple. Put one of them in the morning or before you train. That's definitely gonna help you. Number 5 is going to be omega-3, the capsules. This is important because we probably aren't gonna be getting that in from our diet unless you eat a lot of fish, you eat a lot of salmon, which, you know, typically we just don't. So you might as well be taking that, and you wanna be making sure with your omega-3 that you don't buy a super cheap one. You should be making sure that it has rich in DHA and EPA, which are the 2 fatty acids which make omega-3 a worthwhile taking supplement. And you should be making sure that you get around 1,000 milligrams combined out of those. Now, recommended dose is around 250 to 500 milligrams for an adult, but that's not really a guy that's wanting to optimize his health and build muscle and be healthy and improve recovery and reduce inflammation, etc. So realistically with omega-3, get at least 1,000 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA, and that's gonna provide the needs for taking a supplement like that, and a lot of the supermarket ones don't have that, so make sure you do your research, okay? You might wanna spend a bit more. And the last one is gonna be a multivitamin. Now think of a multivitamin just plugging the gaps potentially as to where we're lacking at the moment, right? So an insurance policy, you might be lacking a little bit of zinc in your diet, you might be lacking a little bit of magnesium or vitamin B or whatever. If you get a decent multivitamin, it's gonna probably cover you. And again, when I say decent, you should probably be looking to spend at least 20 quid on a multivitamin. If you buy the cheap ones in the supermarkets, probably gonna suck, and just your body's not gonna absorb the vitamins in there, and it probably doesn't have a great profile. So, but honestly guys, that's it. I genuinely don't think there's anything more. You could look at things like ZMA, Tonka Ali is a supplement which supposedly increases testosterone production. But honestly, as a starting point, don't overcomplicate. This is pretty much the blueprint you need to follow. Okay, very, very, very simple. So that supplements boxed off. You can see we are getting somewhere now. Hopefully you guys are finding this incredibly useful. Okay, now what happens next? We need to focus on the midpoint analysis. Okay, we're gonna go midpoint. Right? Now, what happens? Let's say we're 45 days into the program, into your pursuit of a six-pack, and you are hitting a plateau. Maybe things aren't working as well as they used to. This does happen, right? This is completely normal, right? What do we do at this point? There's a couple of little cards that we can play to break through that plateau. Now, very, very simple. What we actually want to do is focus on one of these two things. Number one is going to be increase activity. So obviously I will explain in a second what that might be. Number two is going to be decrease calories, right? We can eat less food. Both of those things break through plateaus because they increase the calorie deficit. Now, which one would I choose? This is my honest opinion, okay? I would always try and optimize this. This one is the key one, because what we actually don't want to be doing is eating less calories, because if we eat less food, our performance is going to suck. We're going to get more hungry. We're not going to get as much energy. Our ability to perform in cardio and weights is going to drop. So it's really the last thing that we want to do. Of course, naturally, we are going to have to drop calories at some point, most likely. But if we can go with increasing activity, then of course that's a better option. This is why I don't like doing loads of cardio at the start of a plan. I don't give loads of clients cardio at the start, because I want more cards that we can play to keep pushing fat loss. So what would I recommend? Very, very simply, when it comes to this, what we would want to do is either push steps. So we're going to go with plus 2K steps, right? So if we're doing 10, we're going to go with 12. If we're doing 12, we're going to go to 14, very simple. Or what we're going to do is go and do the cardio that we might not have done at the start, okay? We're going to push this up. Or what we might do is plus 10 minutes on these cardio sessions, right? So you can see there's like different options that we've got. We've got increased steps, we've got push the cardio, or of course we've got, 10 minutes of extra cardio. So we can kind of go down one of these lines, one of these routes, and all of them are gonna increase the deficit, so we start burning fat again, right? We start losing. If we need to do this decrease, if we do need to do the decrease, which we might have to, unfortunately, right? We're probably gonna wanna take off about 200 calories, and we're gonna do that from carbohydrates, right? Carbs are the only non-essential macronutrient. We could potentially bring fats down a bit, but it's a lot easier to bring your carbs down because you actually don't need carbohydrates. Obviously they benefit, but your body can survive without them. So when we are looking to reduce calories, we're naturally gonna go along the lines of pulling down carbohydrates. So that's the route you can take, guys. As I say, I'm more of a fan of increasing activity, but of course, if you feel like you can actually eat a little bit less food, you're nice and full, and you don't mind decreasing your food a little bit, or you could do, a bit of both as well, of course. You might decide that you wanna drop your calories by 100 and increase your steps by 1,000, take a little bit of both. That is also an option that you could use. So guys, that is honestly pretty much exactly what we need to do, right? And then a couple of other little things that I'm gonna show you guys would be this next one, which is actually really freaking important because a lot of people probably don't do this. And how do we know whether we're progressing? We don't. So how do we go about tracking progress? Very, very simple, okay? What I would really recommend, these are the three things that we focus on with our clients. I'm gonna run you through exactly what we would do when it comes to tracking progress. Number one, of course, is going to be photos, right? Of course, you want to see how you look, or you could take videos. I used to take videos of me, put my phone up and just stand there and just turn around and get my condition, raw condition in the morning first thing. I wanted to see exactly what I look like. So that's the first thing we can focus on. We can do photos, and you're gonna wanna take them, empty stomach, first thing in the morning, and just literally see exactly how your condition is looking. Obviously, you're gonna wanna see these improve. That's the most important one, I probably would say. The second is going to be weight, right? Obviously, we set a weight goal. So that means we need to be tracking weight. How often would I be actually doing weight? Honestly, guys, I'm not joking when I tell you, you should be taking your weight daily. And if you say you've got a bad relationship with the scales, that's a problem. And that's actually probably just down to the fact that you don't know how to use the scales properly. Okay, you actually, you've got this relationship because you don't have confidence with the approach that you're using, so you don't want to get on them because you think, oh, well, I'm binge eating or I'm yo-yo dieting, so I don't want to get on the scales because that's just a reality check. If you are confident with the approach that you're using and you actually know that you're on the right path with things, well, you're just literally simply looking at a daily metric, which is keeping you accountable. And the more that you take your weight, you start to understand fluctuations, so then it's almost not a kick in the teeth when you see the weight hasn't dropped, because then you get on it the next day and it's dropped. So I honestly would do daily weigh-ins. It's, for me, probably one of the most key things that I do. It keeps my weight accountable. I know my numbers, so I know that I want to roughly stay within the ranges of 88 to 90 kilos. So I take it on a daily basis, I get out of bed, I get on the scales, and it just gives me a reality check every single day. So that is honestly what I would do. If you really don't want to do it daily, you can do it maybe like 3 times per week, but I still would. And then it's going to be waist, okay? Very simply, your waist centimeters. I mean, look, everybody knows where their belly button is. I mean, hopefully you do know where your belly button is. There's not really going to be any degree of discrepancy. If you take your biceps and all these, your legs and stuff, you're probably going to keep messing up. The one that people obviously want to reduce is belly fat. So if we take a nice simple measurement of our waist, of course, it's nice and easy for us to then understand that we are reducing belly fat. So look, these are the 3 biggest, most important ones that you want to be using when it comes to tracking your progress, okay? Very, very simple. These 3 are the key ones. So that is pretty much, guys, the entire, I cannot believe I've given you guys this information. This is literally the exact blueprint that you need to completely transform your life, honestly. Completely transform your life from literally following these exact steps, right? And one more thing that I'm gonna share with you guys, a couple of little key pointers before I close this video out and share with you guys the most valuable piece of content that I've ever shared in my entire life. So, stay consistent is number 1 because most people can't follow a plan for more than 2 weeks and they fall off the wagon. Number 2 is limit booze. Alcohol is the number 1 thing that is killing your progress right now in so many ways that I'm not gonna get into it on this video, but it is absolutely killing your progress right now. So you need to limit it over the next 90 days. You're probably gonna be drinking a lot of Christmas, so have a break. And the 3rd one, which again is the biggest mistake guys make, is this one. Control your weekends. The weekends are just as important as the week, okay? You cannot control the weekend, you are going to fail. You are only ever as good as your weekends. So you need to be tracking at the weekends. You need to be keeping similar foods in the weekends. Don't deviate off the plan because otherwise you're not going to get results. Guys, honestly, that is pretty much the exact blueprint that I would use to get in impeccable shape over this next 90 days. Whenever you are watching this video, maybe you're watching this in January, maybe you're watching this 90 days before the summer. If you follow this, you are going to have, okay, let's get rid of the Christmas part, even if you're watching this at a later date. 90-day blueprint to a 6-pack, absolutely covered. I hope you find this video useful, guys. If you do want me to put all this together for you specifically, take away all the guesswork like we've done with thousands of guys on the program at FitLab, of course, I'm gonna leave a link below. Get in touch, apply to work with us. I'll be in touch, I'll be in contact and see if things are a good fit. But if not, hopefully you're taking massive value out of this regardless. Please make sure you smash the like button, make sure you subscribe. As always, guys, I'm gonna catch you in the next video.